My husband never did housework. He blamed me for my health problems during my pregnancy.
Housewives are good at lounging every day, aren't they? You can have it easy just because you get pregnant.
When my husband, who would hurl such terrible words at me, became gentle, I was relieved. A little. I hoped that the kind husband I once knew would come back to me. The days when he would hurt me, he might have such a bad day at work, but I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Scums will always be scums. My name is Kate. I married 2 years ago to my husband Eugene. I am a housewife, currently working part-time. My husband cared for me when we were dating. After we got married, I found out that he was such a slack at home. Hey, can you help me around the house once in a while? Just a little bit.
You're a housewife. That's your job. Making me do chores isn't right.
I tried telling him that I worked part-time. He didn't change his attitude towards me. I was grateful that he worked full-time and didn't expect him to do all of the house chores. I just thought that it would have been nice if he did the dishes or cleaned up sometimes. He was the one who wanted me to quit my job to devote as a housewife. It doesn't matter now anyways. It would be good for you to get accustomed to it for times when I get sick or when we have kids.
I'll burn the bridge when I get to it.
He would laugh at me half-heartedly. I felt that I had to do something about it and decided to educate my husband little by little. Hey honey, can you take the trash out?
Why should I?
It's on your way out to work in the morning.
Why don't you do it? It's too heavy and a bother.
We would fight about the smallest of things, but he seemed to have given up arguing and recently takes out the trash. It was starting to work out. Then I found out I was pregnant. Eugene was thrilled, telling me that he would love either boy or a girl. We were happy until my morning sickness started.
Ugh, can you not throw up in front of me? It's disgusting.
I can't control it. It's just the nature of being pregnant.
It makes me lose my appetite. Just don't do it when I'm around.
I didn't ask to be sick. His insincere words gave me a great shock. When I would be sick in bed, he would say,
Do you just lay around all day? It must be great being a housewife. Being pregnant gets you out of doing chores, or even your part-time job. Makes me wish I was a girl.
How can you say such things to the person who's going to give birth to your child? I didn't choose to be sick all the time. As I retaliate, he would look as if he was the devil's advocate.
Shut up and make me dinner, you fat ass.
It surprises me how a person can change. The confrontation that my kind husband I once knew was gone for good made me cry.
Crying won't get you anywhere. How would you feel if you worked all day just to come home to a lazy pig?
He went out to eat by himself after that. We were going to have a baby, and I didn't want to go on like this, but I didn't have the strength to do anything. Hard days would go on. Eugene, as always, never did the chores. My health deteriorated, probably due to psychological reasons. I went to the clinic one day to have the doctor tell me why I was too skinny. I told him about my poor health, and he advised to re-evaluate my surroundings. That the present condition won't be good for me or the baby. I thought about it, and consulted my husband that I want to go to live with my parents for a while. I half expected him to say, "Who's going to cook or do the laundry or cleaning while you're gone?" Instead, he agreed with me.
If you stay, you'd feel obligated to do all the housework for me. I wasn't able to do anything for you here, and it made me feel useless.
Would you be fine? Alone?
I could always go out to eat or take out. I know how to do the laundry. Don't worry about me. It's you who needs to go strong after the baby's born. You need all the rest you can get.
Feeling a sense of unease as he smiled, I decided not to push too far. Anyways, I'll be back next week.
Okay.
I was wary for a while, but Eugene became kinder to me, bringing home takeouts till the day I went to my parents' place.
Even though I know it's for the best, it hurts me that we'll live apart for the next 3 months.
His spirit as he said this had me relieved that he still had those kinds of feelings for me. It had me thinking that maybe he had bad days at work when he would lash out at home. Life back in my parents' house was as luxurious as it can be. My mother and father took care of things. Of course, I would help when I could. My mother's delicious cooking had my health up to speed in no time. We were worried when it came to us sticks and bones, disheveled. Maybe that you and Eugene weren't working out as we hoped? Did something happen? My mother, with her age and wit, knew something was up. But Eugene and I were so good right before I left, so I didn't tell her anything. We texted each other 3 times a week, how things were with the baby, what he did eat last night, and so on. It was like we were back in the dating days. Maybe a little break was good for the both of us. Bringing things in perspective, respecting each other once again. The reality set in soon enough. Our next door neighbor texted me one day, suggesting that my husband was sleeping with another girl. I couldn't believe it at first, but my neighbor wasn't the type to gossip. I even talked about my marriage with them when things weren't going well. Are you sure they're not just friends? They told me that they saw Eugene making out with a girl in our porch, and even apologized bringing this news to me with my condition. Tears came out of realization that my husband was being nice to me because he was seeing someone else. If I wasn't home, he could bring her back to the house, doing whatever he wants. I felt bad for my neighbor that had to witness this. I was glad to know the truth than a white lie. My mother found me crying and rushed over. What happened? I think Eugene's cheating on me. Mother's eyes widened as I told her everything my neighbor told me, what it was like before in that household. She took it all in, thought for a while, and asked me, "What do you want to do?" I knew the answer to that. She said she would support me whatever comes. I contacted my husband immediately. Hey, Eugene, isn't it time you miss my cooking? Maybe I could swing by and cook something. His decline was quick and hasty, saying that he misses my cooking, but I didn't have to mind him when I would have to take care of my pregnant body. I replied I was worried about him eating takeout so much and it would be fine because my mother would be giving me the ride here and back. He still declined, but I was irritated at his kindness that was to cover his affair. Fine, then I'll have some dishes to be sent for dinner, the day after tomorrow. Relieved I was coming in by person, my husband accepted the offer. 2 days later, I was in a car with my mother on a drive to the house where Eugene awaits. According to my neighbor, my husband was bringing home his lover home every night. We pulled up to the house and my fingers shook as I rang the doorbell. "Ha! A package for, Mr. Eugene?"
I'll be right out.
I smiled at my husband who opened the door.
What are you doing here?
I wanted to give you this in person.
Get out.
In a panic, he tried to push me out of the porch. My mother came to my rescue, yelling at him how he tried to forcefully push his pregnant wife out of her own house. Hearing voices, a girl came out from the living room. Surprised by seeing us that she dropped her phone to the floor. My husband went on his hands and knees.
Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
His trembling lover went down beside him, mimicking his apology. You were having an affair. My mother coldly confronted the flustered Eugene, who didn't come up with any excuses.
We would never forgive what you did to our daughter.
Eugene kept mumbling words of apologies. I proceeded to get what I came for. Eugene, sign this.
What?
Divorce papers, including alimony and property division.
Now?
When, if not now? And you. I pointed at the girl. I'll be claiming you for compensation. All of us went inside to talk over what goes now. 30 minutes in, my father brought Eugene's parents to the conversation. His father punched him in the face, and his mother was crying. They begged me to rethink about the divorce, but when my mother told them about what Eugene said at me these past few years, his father hit him once again.
It was on the spur of the moment. I was just lonely ever since Kate got pregnant. I wasn't serious about it at all.
Then the lover started to cry and slapped him when she heard his words, objecting about their relationship. I got her to sign the alimony agreement and sent her home. I doubt any of us would ever see her again. If you care about me or my child, you'd agree to the divorce.
I can't agree, especially for the child. You can't help being a single parent.
I'm ready for whatever comes. I'll provide anything to not let my child have a hard life. He wasn't convinced, assuring me that the child needed a father. My mother rebutted.
Any man who is a dick to his wife isn't capable of being a father. We have the means to take care of our daughter and our grandchild, rest assured.
Eugene couldn't argue with that and kept his head low in shame.
I would do anything. The chores, nurse the baby. Please, don't leave me.
His words were genuine, and if I heard them before the affair, I might have forgiven him. But now, I couldn't believe a single word that came out of his mouth. I couldn't let go of how I got treated badly these years. His betrayal left deep cuts in my heart. I can't suffer for you anymore. If you can't agree, then we'll settle this in court. I'll be free of you either way. I left with my parents after that. His father and mother apologized for his son till the end. Few days later, I was contacted that my husband signed the divorce papers, persuaded by his parents. I received alimony and child support in one lump sum. Eugene's share of the property was also paid to me, leaving him none. I gave birth to a beautiful girl. My parents were beyond delight, for they brought home presents for her every day. I also rang up my ex's parents, who were happy to hear the news. I decided to be strong for my little girl. A little birdie told me that Eugene's lover was actually his co-worker, who then quit from stress. She left behind all of the stories of what Eugene did in the workplace, which put him out of his position. He still lives in that house, and the neighbors would complain about the smell. Everyone who knew him left him completely, so the scum is probably living with the trash he seemed incapable of taking out.